Hi you guys, and welcome back to my channel. I had this video in mind while I was traveling around in Europe solo, and I couldn't wait to film it. So now that I'm back, it's time. And if you don't really know the background of this, I was just living in Europe for 4 months and au paired for 3 of those months, and then traveled on my own for a solid month. It was an adventure. I went from Germany to Paris to London to Switzerland. It kind of like doesn't really make sense that I went that way, but I just what I did. And then in Switzerland I went to Lucerne. That was amazing. Switzerland to Austria, and then Austria to Italy, Rome, Porto Verde, which Porto Verde was so cool, so beautiful. Cinque Terre, then Monaco, then Nice, then Barcelona, and then another town in Spain that I can't remember, and then back to Paris. So that was my little itinerary. What was your favorite thing about traveling alone? I loved it, and I don't think I hated it ever. The pros definitely weighed out the cons, but my favorite thing was just learning that I could be so independent, and it just taught me so much about myself that I can do anything, that I could just go wherever I wanted. When you are traveling with somebody, or if you're traveling with a group, you have to have other people's opinions in mind, or you know, you can't just be selfish the whole time. So I think the fact that I could just do whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted, I could go there, here, leave when I want. I didn't have to like ask anybody. It was really free. What is one advice you would give to a first-time solo traveler as a woman? I think my first advice would be to kind of have your wits about you and just be safe, and like just be cautious of what's around. I feel like I went into this like so carefree and so like nothing's gonna happen, and like everything went fine. There was no like major hiccups. I don't know, like don't tell like a weirdo, like if you get a weird vibe, don't like tell him where you're staying if you're out and about. But that, I feel like that's just common sense. I feel like just to have a little bit of common sense. Budget, make sure you have like enough money. Is there a place that you liked so much that you would visit it a second time? P.S. Come to Berlin if you'd like. Oh, sweet, but I'm not coming to Berlin. I'm back in Hawaii. Yes, I would love to go back to London. I was actually thinking about going to London again. Like when I was there, I was like, I could just go back to London because I didn't really have any ties back here in America. I could have stayed, but I was homesick. What are your next destinations, and what was the most amazing thing you saw? Oh, hi Grammy. My next destinations are, I don't actually know. Maybe she was wondering like here, like as I was traveling, but I'm answering these like when I'm home. But right now I'm just in Hawaii. The most amazing thing I saw would have to be, I think destination, they're all so beautiful. Like Hallstatt, Austria was insane. I can't choose one. Would you recommend being an au pair? So these questions are kind of just all over the place. I would recommend it. I personally wanted to be an au pair to dive into a different culture. I was like sick of America, and like just sick of every single thing seemed the same. Like I wanted, and obviously it's not, I know this, but you know, in the grand scheme of things, like everywhere you go in America, you're gonna get pretty much the same language, same stores. I just wanted something different. That is why I did it. I recommend it. I think everybody's experience is different. Mine is so different, probably from so many other people. Yeah, do it if you want to do it. I have a picture. Oh, that was George. How did you decide where you're going to travel? How did you plan everything out? Deciding where to go was like really tough and overwhelming. I just spent so many nights Pinteresting like best places to go in Europe, like intense Googling. But yeah, I just decided, okay, this is where I want to go. These places look cool, and then I put it on a map. Typed everything into Google Maps. You can make your own map and then connect the dots, and this was best for me because I could like visually see where I was gonna go. So I could go, okay, I'm gonna go here, draw a line, da 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 da. Planning wise, I planned a little bit. I didn't plan a lot, but couch surfing was like the most I planned. And then I didn't plan anything for my destinations ahead of time because I really just wanted to go as I went and not really have a set plan. Besides, like I said, a place to stay, which sometimes I didn't even plan until like the day of. Did you save up for this trip or will you have to work somewhere? So I saved up for it. I spent all on my own. I just saved and saved and saved. I was living in California with my family for like 9 months, so I was working like a lot in 9 months. And will you have to work somewhere? Now that I'm home, I want to like get another job and save. Did you use an app for couch surfing, and what was your favorite part of au pairing for 3 months? So yes, couch surfing is actually the app. A lot of people have been asking me this, but type in couch surfing, it's phenomenal. I loved the flexibility of it. With my experience, it was super flexible. And the family was so sweet, and my hosts were incredible. They just made me laugh so much. They're great. What is something you wished you would have known or done differently when you first started traveling alone / being on your own? Probably that homesickness is like a real thing because I didn't realize it was a real thing. I didn't even think about being homesick while I was planning my 1 month alone. I didn't even think about it. I'm gonna be in all these amazing places. Like, how could I be homesick? I'm gonna be in Italy, and I'm gonna be in Barcelona, and I'm gonna be in Switzerland, and it was really overwhelming because I was homesick. How was your experience using couchsurfing? Would you recommend it to other solo traveler women? Yes, I recommend it so much. You just gotta like be smart with it. Like, don't book anything that doesn't have reviews. And I did not have a problem with staying with men and women. How do you deal with homesickness? I don't know. I didn't deal with it. Sometimes I would like see other people with a boyfriend or like with a friend, and I was like, or even thinking of like my mom. She would be so fun to like be in these places with. I would like shut down. And like when I was in Italy, Rome was fun, but then I went to Cinque Terre, and I feel like Cinque Terre is somewhere you need to go with people, like, cause there's people but couples everywhere, like groups. Like, it's not somewhere you just like meet people. Like Rome, I met these guys that were also traveling, and then Cinque Terre is like honeymooners, and I didn't meet like anybody. There was one guy in my hostel, which my hostel sucked there. Like, I just didn't have a good time, and I definitely want to go back. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't deal with it. I just like went home. No, I didn't go home because I was homesick, but I just like, you know, I was just kind of done. How much did you spend on your whole interrailing experience, if it's not too private? By the way, I love your videos. Greetings from Mallorca. Isn't that in Spain? Hi. No, it's not too private. I'm curious of this kind of stuff. So I spent like $2,500 US dollars. I definitely could have budgeted like half of that probably. Like, I seriously could have like spent not as much as I did, but I had the money and I just didn't really care. I mean, I cared to a certain point, like I wasn't stupid with my money, but at the same time being homesick, like I am such an emotional eater, so I spent so much money on food, and yeah, so much money on food, like just ridiculous. That's just for the month, not the whole 4-month thing, just me traveling alone. How far in advance did you book everything, and are you surprised at how everything worked out, or was it all well-planned chaos? Okay, so I booked the first like week or so of couch surfing just to have a little bit of like comfort, because I was kind of like, oh my gosh, what if nobody accepts me and then I'm stranded? I did that like really far, like I think like a month. I was like, hey, I'm gonna be here on the 1st of whatever, and they were like, wow, that's really far ahead. But couch surfing, like you can usually do it a few days in advance, sometimes even a day in advance. If you're in like a super popular city like Paris or something, there's so many people. Yeah, I didn't really plan anything that advanced, and I'm not that surprised. I mean, like, it all went super smooth. Like there was never a time where I was like, I'm stranded. I mean, maybe there was one time, but I wasn't even stranded. Like, I had a place to stay. I was just like in the middle of nowhere, and I didn't want to be there. But no, I'm not that surprised. The way I went into it, I was like, you know, everything happens for a reason. Like, it's gonna be an adventure. This isn't forever, so whatever scenario I get in, like I'm gonna get out of it. Did you encounter any language or any problems with the language barrier anywhere? Not really, like ever, because I went to pretty touristy spots, and I'm also not like afraid to just like ask for help, or like, hi, do you speak English? Or, you know, you kind of can't be afraid to like talk to strangers. And, or actually there was this one time in Paris, I was at the grocery store and I was in the checkout line and I had grabbed some vegetables, and I didn't realize you had to weigh the vegetables and put a sticker on it yourself, because here you don't have to do that. Like they type it into the computer and, you know, ring you up. So there was a line behind me and the lady was like, like I couldn't understand. I understood her, but I couldn't, like we couldn't communicate, because I was like, oh, what? Oh, I'm sorry. Like, okay, just, I don't want them. You can put them to the side. And then I was like, because I just didn't want them anymore, so the line would just keep going and like whatever. And she didn't get it, and she was like, huh? And this guy, like 6 people back, was like, oh, you have to put the sticker on it. And I was like, I don't know how to do it, like the machine, what? And yeah, now that I think about it, I should have just like figured it out. But I had to go back. The lady would not, like she was just standing there like, okay, I'm not gonna move, you have to go weigh it yourself, and hold up this whole line. And I felt terrible. But even in that situation, I was like, sorry, like they knew that there was a language barrier. No one's gonna like hate you forever. And if they do, whatever, you're leaving. How are you able to afford traveling to so many places? Like I said, just save up your money and go. Was eating vegan while traveling hard to stay on a budget? How would you recommend eating healthy while traveling? Eating was so hard for me. Number one, because I was like homesick up and down. It was like a roller coaster. And whenever I am like emotional, I'm like, screw it, just give me Oreos. Yeah, I did not eat healthy. And finding like healthy places to eat, it just kind of depended on the cities. Like when I was in Barcelona, it was much easier than when I was in Italy. Oh, my dad just texted me, I love you, I'm so glad you're back from Europe. Like randomly. I didn't stay in one place more than like 2 days, so you can't really like cook a lot. I didn't have like Tupperware. I was packing like, I couldn't pack things with me really, so yeah, I don't know how people do it. Did you pick up any languages in your travels or know any prior? So no, I went into this not knowing any languages, and I went out of it not knowing any languages. If you were able to move to one place for a long period of time, where would you live? London. Were you scared to go travel that far by yourself? No, I wasn't. I mean, okay, so in the beginning, I was not scared at all. I was like, I can do this. Why be scared? And then I got to Europe when I started au pairing, and I was so scared. I was like, oh, how am I gonna go to Paris? How am I? And I kind of went through this like bubble of fear, just like I was scared. And then something happened, and when I got to, I think when I made that first trip to Paris, I had no fear. I don't know why. How did you convince your parents to let you travel alone? I'm dying to go somewhere solo and have that growing experience, and I really think I'm mature and ready enough, but my parents just won't let me. Well, I am 21, almost 22, so I kind of just do what I want to do, but I also am just blessed with such supportive parents. I mean, I know like my dad stresses out a lot, and I know that he was stressed, but he's also not going to be like, no, don't go. I didn't really do anything to convince them. I didn't even ask them. I was just like, I'm going. Even to Germany, I didn't ask their permission. So I'm sorry that you're in that position. Do you think you'll travel again anytime soon? Have your parents traveled a lot? Who or what inspired you to travel? I don't want to travel anytime soon. Like, I just need to like settle down. Being gone for 4 months, like I got what I wanted. I wanted a different experience, and now I'm just ready to be here. I don't think anybody inspired me to travel. I really just wanted to. Maybe that's stupid. Maybe everybody on Instagram inspired me to travel. But then at the same time, it was just always something in my mind of like, oh, I just want something different. As for my parents, they haven't traveled that much. Like, I mean, my dad, when he was my age, he did kind of the same thing, or when he was 18, he went to Europe for 3 months or maybe 2 months. All right, I'm gonna answer one more question, but this got too long, so it's actually gonna be 2 parts. This is the Q&A, and then I'm gonna talk just more about, like, if you're interested in couch surfing and this, like, I'll walk you through the apps and stuff. That, like, all the apps that I used. But somebody asked, hi, I have some questions for you for your Q&A. How does couch surfing work? Do you pay the person to stay there? Also, I noticed you stayed with males. Did you ever feel uncomfortable or worried? Also, how did you understand the currency exchange rate with the people you didn't speak English? Thanks, girl. I enjoy your vlogs. Okay, so I kind of briefly answered these, but do I pay the person to stay with couch surfing? No, that's what's just wild. Like, you don't pay anything. It's kind of like this, like, exchange. For every place that I stayed, I asked them, like, why are you doing this? Like, I wanted to just know why. And they always said, someday when I travel, I hope that people are going to do the same for me. So they always asked me, like, you know, make sure that you host people in return. But you can do kind gestures, like, you know, take them out to dinner, pay for their food, or, I don't know. Some people, like, paid for my dinner, and I was like, no. And they're like, it's fine. Like, you're my guest, and just paid for me. It's weird. I appreciated it. Nope, never felt uncomfortable with staying with males. Thinking about it, like, it is kind of weird, like, walking into somebody's house and it's like, hi, are you gonna rape me, or... But no, I never got a weird vibe. And how do you understand the currency exchange rate? I just had a debit card that had no fees, so I would just use my debit card and then get cash. It was pretty easy. All right, you guys, that is enough for this part of the video. Stay tuned for more if you're curious about Interrail. I didn't really talk about interrailing. Interrail tips, hostels, like I said, my most used apps. Okay, thank you guys for watching, and thank you again for asking the questions. Mwah.